Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. How y'all doing? Yeah, we're back at it again. I actually spent some time this afternoon working on what we finished the stream off of, or what we finished the stream off with earlier this morning, which was getting the alchemy to be at least a little bit more deterministic to prevent people from save scumming and just like trying to do the same alchemy result over and over again. I'm happy to say that that's working. It's not like perfect because you're still going to be able to like change the number of cards that you're putting in and then try it again and everything. But for the same exact cards, no matter what order they are in the board, you're always going to get the same exact result for that next alchemy encounter. And that's randomized on game start and that seed is saved. So that means that if I have a skeleton warrior, skeleton mage, and a flagrum, and I put those all on the alchemy board, I'm going to get the same result every time for that input, for that specific input. Now, if I did that again with 3 new versions of the skeleton mage, skeleton warrior, and flagrum, I would get a different result. But we're just saving the sort of like next alchemy seed so that when people go ahead and, you know, try to do the alchemy again, it's just going to give them the same result every time. So that's what we got going on, and yeah, I think we can continue on. So there's a couple of things with the save system that I still need to do. The main one being that I need to let players continue from their save. So allow continuing run from main menu. And then when we abandon a run or when we finish a run, we need to sort of migrate or move all of those specific run statistics back into the main statistics, because the way the unlock system works is that it tracks all of your statistics during a run, and then when you finish the run, it merges those statistics into like the global statistics. And then the global statistics are what are used to determine your unlock. So we've got like the global statistics here, but then we also have the where are those run statistics? I actually don't know where that's being saved. Maybe I'm not saving those yet. So we're gonna have to take a look at that as well. But yeah, that's what we got going on. Hello, Ninja Link, welcome back. Hello, Yito. Good to see you again. Welcome, welcome. All right, so what do we want to start with? Let's start with the main menu. Oh, great, I'm getting a phone call now. Oh, no. Do I let the phone call go? It's probably not important. It's just my tax CPA. We can let them go to voicemail. Okay. Yeah, so let's start with the main menu. So I'm trying to think, like, we don't need to complicate this. I think that if you have a save file, we'll just make the start button do a continue. Dang phones. So we'll just make this button be a continue, and then we'll go into the run. And then if you want to abandon the run from there, we'll make it abandonable from there. Yeah, so there's going to be probably a new screen in here, like the run overview screen, which is going to have to be done as well. Well, we just do one thing at a time, I guess. Avoiding the taxman, the criminality. Hey, I still have a month to file my taxes. We're okay. Hello, Snupbill. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. So let's see how we could do this. All right, so this load save is happening. It's happening on start, so that should be okay. Let's change this to start label. Access that as a unique name. Let's do public static bool has saved run. Current run is not equal to null. So let's go to the main menu then. We're going to grab a reference to that start label. Start label. And I guess we could just do start label dot text is equal to data initializer dot has saved run continue. Otherwise we could just do the default text start label dot text. On start clicked. So character select. How is this one going on here? Start run. New run config. So get main change to run. If data initializer dot has saved run, we're going to do this dot get main dot change to run. New main dot run config run save model equals data initializer dot current run. I hope that doesn't break anything. Should probably make this, I don't know, let me think. That's redundant. I don't need that there. Well, we'll just put ignore save in here, I guess. I'm just worried that if that character definition resource is not present, if this character definition resource isn't present, then that could cause issues. But I think if I just account for if I'm ignoring the save file in the debug options, I think this should be okay. All right, let's do debug skip menu off. Hello, Eto, welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so we've got continue here. That is not doing something very nice. Do I have a fade out here? Yeah, so we're going to want to do that probably. Okay, that should be fine. Let's see what that does. Continue here. All right, so we continue there, and then this is going to load up, and there we go. We're into our saved run here. Let's just visit a couple things and make sure this is working as expected. Okay, and then I can quit to main menu. I should see continue here. We go back into the game, and there we go. All right, so that loop is working. Now I need to support like abandoning the run. Unlocks. Maybe I'll put the unlocks button somewhere else here. But we'll worry about that in a second, I suppose. How close are you to finishing the system? We're almost done. What happened if game crash or do F4? So there is no manual saving in the game. Basically, there's a number of conditions where saving will happen automatically. So the main place where saving will happen automatically is if I change my inventory state while I'm in the map idle state. So this is the map idle state. I'm not doing anything with this map right now. So as I'm moving these things around, that's triggering a save every time. If I have a card in the alchemy, that will block saving. So anytime the alchemy is being engaged with, no saving happens. But if I do the alchemy and then I take a result out, the game will save right after it's finished with that animation. And so if I do this, and then I can just go ahead and quit to menu, and I go back into continue, we'll load right back into that game, and there's my skeleton warrior that's been alchemized and everything. So the game is going to save automatically for you, and I think it's saving frequently enough that you don't have to really worry about it. If you were to visit this node and like quit to menu, and then go back in, that didn't save any of that progress. So maybe, I mean, then maybe there's an opportunity to cheese here too, where if you lose a combat encounter, you could just quit and then, you know, redo it if you wanted to, but we can handle that situation later. I'm not too worried about handling all the opportunities for players to cheese. So yeah, I could just, if I died, I could just quit and retry. So we may need to fix that. But yeah, so it's basically saving often enough. And so now I need to support abandoning the run. I like the new notoriety bar and the new cauldron. Thank you, Yeet. Yeah, appreciate that. I'm currently researching a best approach to do a save system in your live stream appears. Oh, very nice. Yeah. I don't know how applicable my save system will be, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. God, there's a lot of things to account for. There's a lot of things to think about, but for the most part, I think it was relatively smooth. I think some level of cheesing is acceptable. Yeah, I don't want to lock it down too much because that's just going to add work for me. And it's like, it is a single player game after all. So, you know, I don't need to be super stingy, stuffy about it. So that's good. So continue from run if run exists. So now we need to support abandoning the run. So let's bring up the pause menu here. Let's add a new abandon button. I might, let me think about this. Oh. Oops, I appear to have broken something. Let's go fix that really quick. Is this set text? I wonder if that was breaking it. Let's discard that. Options menu. Let's just discard these things as well. That's still clearing out the text. Why is that still clearing out the text? Oh, probably because I didn't build the project. That's probably why. Hello, Nano. Welcome back. Why is it clearing out this text now? I don't understand. Why are you clearing my text, brother? All right, let's just rebuild. Let's restart. I really don't understand that. That should not be clearing the text. It did it again. The only place the text is being changed is here. Text equals null, but that's if not engine is editor hint. So this is a tool script, but this text being set to null is being... Are you serious? Why is this happening? What happens if I just put all the text back? Okay, so it is clearing the text on tree enter. Why is that happening? I have no idea why that's clearing my text out. That's kind of annoying. I didn't want to get stuck on this issue, but... Okay, let's do this then. This is pretty baffling, actually. Okay, let's just get rid of the enter tree entirely. Do I need to, let's try to, I don't think this does anything, but let's do clean project, rebuild project. Okay, and then we'll go back to pause menu. Yeah, it's just removing my text. Why is that happening? Why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? There's nothing in my script. There's nothing in my custom button that should be overriding the text at all. I mean, it's just, with this commented out, I mean, it's not this, is it? Let's just comment that out as well. Anything related to text we'll just get rid of. Build. Okay, interesting. So that text... Alright, well, we'll just change that then, I guess. Let's go to the custom button here. Let's change this. Actually, am I even using this text variable anywhere? I don't think I am. Or am I? I'm not. So we could just get rid of that. That's interesting. I didn't think it would be able to set like a private property like that that's not exported, but I guess it does. Okay. All right, well, I guess we fixed it. Now we can get started with the actual thing I was trying to do. Okay, we are good to go. Just joined the Discord. Thank you. I appreciate that. So the abandoned run, we're going to need... So we have this tutorial. Notice I might change this to be more generic. Like, let's do... Let's duplicate this. We're going to call this confirmation dialog. Create that. We are just going to copy this text in here. Okay. So we've got our confirmation dialog. We'll put this on layer 21. We need to set this to process always. It already is process always. Okay. So then we need to be able to set the... We need to be able to set the export variables. I think I can just do this here. Private string header. Export private string body. And we'll do property hint multi-line text. Header label. And then body label. All right, so let's go to the pause menu then. And we're going to instantiate a child scene confirmation dialog. Let's load this as a placeholder. This is going to be confirmation, so abandon confirmation dialog. Let's build this. Header, abandon, run. This run. Are you sure you want to abandon this run? How do I want to word this? I don't know, something like that. Maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe we'll just do a one-line text. We'll let the player figure out what abandoning does. Okay. So we've got the abandon button dot pressed plus equals on abandon pressed. Disable buttons, enable buttons. Okay. Private void on abandon pressed. We're going to do disable buttons. We're going to grab a reference to that confirmation dialog. So private instance placeholder, abandon confirmation dialog placeholder. Okay, so down here, var confirmation dialog is equal to abandon confirmation dialog placeholder dot create instance as confirmation dialog. We don't need to add the child. We just need to do confirmation dialog dot confirmed plus equals something like this, and then confirmation dialog dot canceled plus equals this. So we're going to, how does this actually work? So this emits canceled. Okay, so we just want to re-enable the buttons here. This one, I don't know what we need to do for that. But let's just make sure that the dialogue works, I guess. I'm pretty new to Godot, but is there a way to make funcs private in GDScript? No. No. GDScript does not have proper like accessibility modifiers. So the convention for marking something as private is to prefix it with an underscore. And that just kind of lets a developer know that anything that's prefixed with an underscore is designed to be private, only accessible from within that class, and not to be called outside of the class. Okay, so we're in the game. We go to abandon run. That didn't do jack. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Abandon confirmation dialog placeholder. Oh, probably because I didn't mark this as... Well, I don't need to mark it as a unique name. Did I mark this as Lotus placeholder? I did. Oh, I need to set that to visible anyway. Confirmation dialog.visible is equal to true. Did I spell everything correctly? Wonder why that didn't work. Oh, maybe abandon button. Let me just make sure that works. Pause menu 160. Oh, I'm using the wrong confirmation dialog. I didn't know there was a confirmation dialog in Godot. It's still using this, so I'm going to need to do notice.confirmation dialog. Okay. That should work. Why not have a button on the main menu called new run or new game? I could do that for sure, but I'm just going to use this button for now. Are you sure you want to abandon this run? No. And then if I click yes, something needs to happen there. I also want to add an escapable validator as well. Not is playing out. Yeah, I'm going to need to test some of these things here. But anyway, what do I need to do? What do I need to do here? Data initializer. Unlocks manager. Merge run statistics. Where is this called? Run end manager. Connect to end run requested. Merge and save and run data. Oh my gosh. Cat was being annoying. So merge and save and run data. We're going to merge run statistics, update unlock state. Then we need to go to this data initializer save. This is saving the whole thing. So I actually need to set the current run. So I need to do data initializer.set current run to null. I think that's right. I think that will work. Let's see. So I just need to emit the run end requested, I think. Game events.emit end run requested. And I may have to block some input here as well, but let's just see if this works. So we're going to continue. Load up the game here. Abandon run. And we are back. We could select a new character. We can go in. That screen needs some work as well. Let's go enchant something. Kerblam. We'll go back out to the map. That's going to save. I can go quit to menu. Oh, that is not saved. Why did that not save? So I guess the moral of the story is that this works. I think there's a problem with my state, though, where, let's see. Isn't that inconvenient? You have many auto-completed functions that in reality you shouldn't use. Yeah. What are we cooking later today? What are we working on? We're working on the abandoned run. We're working on the save system, trying to get the full loop in place with all the data saving properly. For some reason, this run is not being saved again, though. So I guess I'll just put a breakpoint here, and we'll see what happens. Oh, am I not reassigning the run save model? Hold on a second. Something's weird here. Merge run statistics. I need to get this whole save pipeline working properly. Run statistics manager. Oh, the statistics for the run aren't being persisted either, so I might actually change this. Let me think about that for a second. Run statistics manager. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. Anyway, let's just go in here. No. Do this. So my run save model should be null. And then when I go to try save, that should work. So I've got that run save model now. It's saving that run. So if I look at my alchemortis.json, my current run is there. Okay, so then I go to quit to menu, and it says start now. Why does it say start when I go to quit to menu? I guess it thinks that there's nothing in the save model here. Why is that not working? Save model. Huh? Something's weird here. I mean, the place where I'm setting it to null, though, merge and save end run data. Oh, I'm probably calling this on end one run requested. No, this should only be... Oh, it is doing end run requested here. Ah, that's not right. Okay, so it's like basically clearing out my save data every time I press the quit to menu button. So that makes sense. So now I need to figure out why I'm doing that and what to do. We'll just handle that all through here. So async void, we're going to do this. Await transition to main menu. Cannot await void. Do I even need to do that? I don't need to do that. Private void on quit to menu requested. So we're going to need a separate event for this, I think. Emit quit to menu requested. Signal public delegate void quit to menu requested. Okay. We're just going to do transition to main menu here. So we're not persisting the run statistics. So that needs to be persisted as well. Okay. All right, well, we're getting there. Let's see if that much works. I'm going to need to probably streamline some of this save system here, but that's all right. Oh my gosh, cat. Cat wants in and out and in and out. All right, so start. Let's select the priestess. Go into the game. We'll go to the enchant. We're just going to set up some initial data so I kind of know that this is working. Okay, it should have saved right there. We'll go to quit to menu. And it's still not working. What in the heck? Yeah, my current run is null. Why is it still setting my current run to null? Ah, this is a mess. Did I not change the call in the pause menu? Oh, yeah. Oops, that's why. I'll get it right one of these days. Okay. Third time's a charm. Is this Elder Scrolls music? It is not. No, it's just generic fantasy music from a music/sound effects library that I have. It's all like royalty-free stuff. You can use it in any commercial creative project. Okay. Okay, so that loop is working, and it's not clearing my save data, so that's good. And everything's being saved. Perfect. All right. Now let's just make sure the abandon run is working. Cool. All right, so that loop is in place. I am going to need to persist the run statistics data. I don't really know. Let's see. Unlocks manager. Merge run statistics. This is the run end manager. We have the run statistics manager. Well, let's just go to our save model then. Oh wait, that needs to go into my current run. So run save model. Let's just put run statistics here. Public run statistics, run statistics. That's fine. Public void from save. This can't be read-only anymore. We're just going to always populate it from the save. So this is referenced by the unlocks manager, or the run end manager rather. This should probably be merged. Think about this. I think this needs to move to the run save manager instead. Let's see. Yeah, so let's do this. We'll go to the run save manager. We're going to do another export here, private run statistics manager. And then in here, when we go load current run, we'll do private void load run statistics. Run statistics manager dot from save. There we go. Okay, we'll just go ahead and we'll just do this here. Load run statistics there. Let's change this. So anywhere where I'm using this. Yeah, let's change this to current save model. Okay. So we're loading the run statistics here from the current save model run statistics. And then we want to do private void. Did I copy that? I did not. So let's get rid of this. We're going to go to the run save manager instead, merge and save and run data. And we're going to need to connect to the game events now. Okay, and then in the run end manager, we're just going to do, we'll just do that. And we no longer need this run statistics manager export there. So let's build this. All right, so the run statistics manager there. All right. So I guess we're going to have to try to see if this works. Audio Jungle, yeah. Sounds so similar, yeah. Hello, V, welcome. What do you feel strongest in game programming or game design? Definitely programming. Game design is hard. Game design is a little bit hard. Ups. Object reference not set to an instance of object. That's because I have an old save that did not have the run statistic, or no. Oh, because this is potentially null. We're also not saving these run statistics either, so I guess we do want to initialize this at least. So maybe we'll initialize it there. I don't want to just have like a bunch of instantiations of this everywhere, so current run, we're going to get rid of this new. We're just going to set everything to null and then be forced to set it when we save it. Okay, so the run save manager, let's do... Okay. Let's see if that works. What cool stuff we implement at later stream? I don't know. To be determined, I guess. All right, so let me just try something here. So we go here. Dang it. I already lost. Okay, there we go. And so what I want to see here now, if I go to my save file, is I should see some data persisted. I don't think I need this log anymore. All right, so let's take a look at the run statistics. Total damage dealt by type physical, total damage received by type. And then if I look at my overall statistics, those should be empty. So now what I should do is I'm going to close the game. I will open this back up. I will trigger a save just to make sure that it's resaving that data properly. It is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to abandon the run. That should merge that data over into this global statistics here. So I'm keeping track of the statistics per run, and then when I end the run, either through victory or whatever, I'm going to merge those total run statistics back into the overall run statistics there. Now I do need to increment that runs won, runs lost, runs abandoned, so on and so forth. And I probably actually don't need that runs abandoned. I'll probably just count an abandon as a loss. So, but that's all working. That's all working. So what I probably want to do as well is I probably want to separate this run save into a different file. Just on the off chance that the run save gets corrupted, it doesn't affect your global stats. But as it stands right now, it's all in a single save file, which is probably okay. This dang cat. Might do something interesting and cool today. Is that true? That was this morning stream. I think the title for this stream is different, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so let's see here. So I think that loop is working. Yeah, mine. Yeah, the title is correct. I think you might have been looking at the title from the previous morning stream. So does this all make sense? So everything is kind of flowing through the save manager, which is good. Everything's kind of like in the same place. I'm gonna have to work on the unlock system some more. There's a lot to do. But the other thing that I need to do is I need to track the victories as well. So that's a different thing. So I have the abandon run working, but I need to also like do the finish the run situation, but that's done. Persist run statistics to current run. What I'm probably going to do is let's do separate. I might do this. Oh, there's a lot of work to do on this unlock system still. What was the interesting and cool in that stream? My concern was this. Oh, it was just working on the save system. That's all. That's all. So I'm going to get rid of this. So this is done. I am going to need to add a run overview screen. That's going to need to be there. Handle completion of saves on victory. So let's do this one now. So handle... Oh boy, there's a lot to do. That's all right though. Just trying to think of how I'm going to handle different things, like notifying the player of unlocks. Clickbaited, yeah. I guess it was a little bit clickbaity. Save system is interesting depending on who you are. All bosses defeated. Okay, so let's go to the run save manager here. Merge run statistics. Update unlock state. Global statistics. Where is this being referenced? Oh, it's just in there. Well, I'll just do this the easy way first. Let's do global statistics dot, no, data initializer dot global statistics dot runs lost. Increment that. We're going to want to do private void on run victory. Data initializer runs 1. Merge and save and run data. We're going to get rid of that runs abandoned, I think. We'll just count that as we'll count an abandon as a loss. Yeah, that should work. That should work. Update unlock state. Yeah, something kind of cool though, not gonna lie. It is cool. I mean, the save system is cool. It's just a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit technical, I guess. It's not super visually interesting. But there's a bunch of cool problems, little challenges to solve for sure. Okay, so we need to emit a run victory. So let's do game events. We're just going to say signal public delegate void run victory event handler. That's not really named the way that I want it to be named, but that's okay. Game events dot emit run victory. And then we'll connect to that up here. Connect to run victory, on run victory. Okay. Now, how are we actually going to test this? If all bosses defeated. Let's just do this. State combat victory. We'll just say the boss got defeated after I fight a combat encounter. So let's see how this goes. We'll add the God mode to myself. Let's go here. Oh, it was just dealing bleed. The enchant made it deal bleed. Okay, so that should have changed my save file now. So we should have runs 1, and then we have bleed applied. Oh my goodness. We got physical damage applied. Interesting that that counts as physical damage. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive in these statistics and make sure that they're being tracked properly. Why did you change the background music to something very calming, soothing one? What happened to the previous fun one? Just changing it up, that's all. Hello, Jack. How do you approach large resolution pixel art? I feel like once I get to a certain size, my skills break down. I struggle with making my drawing not look amateurish. Yeah, I mean that's really hard because a larger pixel art means more room for detail, right? But I think a lot of the concepts are the same. But I don't know if I really have anything helpful to say, unfortunately. I think it's just a matter of practicing drawing at different resolutions, different sizes, because it is somewhat of a different skill set to draw like small scale pixel art versus larger scale pixel art. It's definitely tough. So I don't know. I wish I had something more interesting to say there, but I unfortunately do not. The other thing too is I haven't really drawn super large scale pixel art. I mean, maybe like this piece of art here is like larger scale, but it's still not that big, you know. I mean, the thing is, yeah, there's just more detail. I mean, probably what I do is I'm thinking about how I approach this one and just handle it in chunks, you know what I mean? Like the tentacles are distinct chunks. So, and those are like, if you just view a tentacle as by itself here, you know, that's a smaller resolution piece of art, right? So maybe just handling in chunks, focusing on one chunk at a time can help. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't really have anything useful to say there. So I probably need to get rid of this abandon run button if we're in the victory state already. But we can handle that later. So I should have a number of victories now. Physical damage dealt by type, is that right? So I should be seeing... How much damage does this do? Oh. So this does 10,000. So I should see, I guess, 55,061 after I do this. Yeah, 55,061. Cool. All right. So I'm going to say that works. I think the flow makes sense. It's like very easy to understand that flow, generally speaking. So this is saving on victory as well. What I do need to do is track unseen unlocks, mark unlocks with notification icon. So I think to start, to be very like to be a little bit more efficient with my time, I was thinking about doing like a whole overview screen where it's like, here's what you unlocked and everything. But I think what I'll do instead is maybe I'll just say something like you have new unlocks, and then you'll go to the unlock menu at the main screen, and maybe this will have like a little icon, like a little animated icon next to it or something. So put like a little icon here and you go in here, and then I'll put icons on each of the categories showing you what you unlocked. And so I'll just have the player go in and investigate what they unlocked, I think. That's probably going to be a little bit easier on me, at least initially. We can always make that system better, but I think there will need to be a post-run screen that just like shows your statistics and everything. But yeah, there's a lot to think about there. Probably won't even have unlocks finished for a while. Yeah, I'm gonna need to think about this. There's a lot to do for sure. But anyway. So that's in place now. Trigger node state is not reset from marking node as visited. Is that right? I think that's a bug. I mean, I logged it, but I don't know if I was understanding that correctly. So I do have to redo the tutorial again. That's going to be a very important one to do. My tutorial is completely broken right now. Let's delete this. I'm just trying to look through. There's a bug with my boss music. Let's see. I'm just writing some things down. Consider randomizing stronghold locations. Do you think more low poly games will be released and more devs will start to pursue low poly 3D modeling now that 3D modeling is so accessible? I mean, I don't really know. I don't know anything about 3D modeling. My understanding is that 3D modeling has been quite accessible for some time. The only thing I've really noticed is like there's a lot of games coming out that have like Cinti assets, right? So there's like, I mean, tons of games on Steam which all use the same asset, that asset pack. So, you know, 3D modeling has been accessible for a while, but it's still hard to do well. And so I think maybe what I've seen is like the Cinti asset pack is just like one person who's very talented making 3D low poly assets, and so they just release a giant asset pack, and because all the assets are thematically similar and go together, lots of developers are just pulling in that asset pack and using it for their games. So I mean, you definitely see that kind of thing, but I mean, the accessibility of like the art tools, I don't know if it's making much of a difference in the amount of games being made that way. I don't know. Maybe it is. I have no idea. I don't know anything about 3D development. It's time for Game Dev once again. Hello, Jagged Daytona. How do you manage the transitions between scenes, or do you don't use scenes? Sorry, I know it might be a weird question. I'm a noob. I have my own transition manager. So I have this main node here, and this main node is the root where I can change to scenes. And the reason I'm doing this scene changing, so it's basically the way that Godot operates, where it just has one node ever as a child. And when I do a transition to a new scene, it just removes the child that's at like the only child, and then it places the new child in the scene. The reason why I'm doing it myself is because I needed a system where I could pass context data into the scene that's being instantiated. And if you use the Godot like change scene functionality, there's no way to pass along data for that scene to consume. And so I just basically created my own scene changing mechanism where, for example, I can call change to run with the run config. And I know, oh, well, I'm going to change to the run manager scene, and then I can initialize it with that config, right? And then I can call this change to run from anywhere in the code, and that's just going to do that transition properly. But it's very basic, you know, it's just like you have your main coordinator node, and then you just place a node as a child, which is your current scene, and then when you need to change the scene, you remove that child, and then put the new scene in there. As far as the visual transition, usually that's just like a fade out kind of transition that happens. So it's not anything too impressive. What would a new character look like? So that character screen is something that I need to work on some more as well. It's a little bit bare bones right now. But I have an idea for a character that starts with a very high amount of health, but does not regain health after each combat, which is not typical for the character. So something like that could be interesting, like slightly changing the way that you play the game. For the most part, I think my characters are just going to have different starting artifacts and different starting cards, and the card tooltip isn't working. Son of a biscuit. Let's see. I'm going to need to overhaul the tutorial. I'm going to need to do that this week, unfortunately. But new characters, so I'm going to update this screen, but basically the idea is to have like a little camp here, and then to have all the characters as clickable elements. The characters won't actually be on the screen until you unlock them though, but I need to have some kind of indicator that there's going to be a character here that you haven't unlocked yet. But the idea behind each character is they have different starting health, they've got a different starting artifact, and then they've got different starting cards. They may also have like unique artifacts, so an artifact that you can't get during the course of the game but is just like unique to that character. So stuff like that. PS1 and N64 models type styles, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any way to get the template for that whiteboard? No, there is not, no. It's pretty simple though. I mean, it's just, there's nothing, it's not anything super impressive. It's just kind of a bunch of random lanes. The big ones you want are backlog, to do, or no, you basically need 3 lanes. You need to do, in progress, and done. And then you can just add lanes as you want that fit your workflow. So I have to do, the to-do list is basically everything that I need to get done. The backlog is everything that I want to get done, but is not quite a priority item yet. And then in progress, of course, is the stuff that is either unfinished, but is partially finished, or stuff that I'm actively working on. If I see one where Meshi AI ad, I will do unspeakable things, yeah. Hello, Artem. Glad to say that I finished your Survivors course. It was an incredible journey. Gonna make some tweaks and show off in Discord community. Awesome. Thanks for taking that. I appreciate that. And glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back. Good to see you. All right, so tell you what, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we will figure out what to get started on next. I do need to overhaul my tutorial, which is going to be a little bit of a pain. Oh, shoot. I mean, maybe we could start on the tutorial. Yeah, we're gonna have to think about that, but anyway, I'll be right back in 3 minutes and we'll figure out what to do. Okay, I'm back. Vampire character that takes high holy damage but uses the blood currency as extra health when the health bar runs out. Oh, that is a cool idea. Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I'm not opposed to that. Can definitely do kind of stuff like that. For sure, for sure, for sure. What's your take approach on 2 projects at once? Do you find that jumping between things keeps it fresh or creates distractions? I mean, it depends on the scope, right? Like, for example, I will often, while I'm working on a larger long-term project, I will often take like a weekend to participate in a game jam. And so that is technically like 2 projects at once, right? But the game jam is very helpful. You know, you get to take a break from your long-term project. You get to do something that's a little bit creatively different, and you have a hard deadline, which means that it's not going to balloon into something that's really going to eat up time away from your main project. So that is definitely helpful. That's definitely something fun to do, because it is nice to be able to take a creative break from something that you have long-term to do something else. But I mean, the other thing is, like, if you're actually serious about finishing a game, you really can't afford to be spending large amounts of time juggling between multiple creative projects, because then you're just never going to finish it, right? So that's my opinion. Maybe there are some people out there that can juggle multiple projects at once. That's probably easier to do if you're like very specialized. So if you're an artist and you're on like 2 different teams and you're creating art for 2 different games, that's probably a lot more doable than if you're trying to like create a game, 2 games at the same time by yourself. So I guess it depends, but at least for me, it's like if I try to do another semi-long-term project alongside Alchemortis, probably neither of them would get done in a reasonable amount of time, right? So we're gonna add DLSS 5 integration. Yeah, my game is only running at 40 FPS right now, so I'm gonna use frame gen and DLSS to get some extra 20 fake frames in there for you. So this game will run. You need a 5090 to run Alchemortis, but if you have that, it's just gonna look so good. That's a joke, by the way. This game runs at 60 plus FPS on 10-year-old hardware, so it's fine. I had an idea for a relic collector character who starts with relic cards and deals damage per relic tile as long as there are no damage dealing cards on the board. Oh, that is a cool one too, yeah. That is a cool one. Do you keep an eye on Steam marketing related things? Chris Zukowski talks, for example. I have watched some Chris Zukowski stuff, but there's more to come on the marketing, so just hold on. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right. So we have a couple of options here. We could start on the tutorial overhaul. Oh my gosh, this cat will not shut up. I have to keep the door closed, but if he's inside, he screams that he wants out. And then if I close the door, 5 minutes later, he's going to be screaming that he wants in. So it's like, what am I supposed to do about this? What am I supposed to do about this? Can you just sleep? Cats are supposed to sleep. You're not sleeping. Go sleep. Go sleep. You're supposed to sleep. All right, what should we work on? I mean, there's a lot of really important stuff to work on here. The tutorial is going to be very important, I think, but I don't know if I need that just yet. I think what I'll do is I'll just strip out all the tutorial stuff for now. So we're going to get rid of the tutorial notice. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think... So I have like an internal goal of everything that needs to be done by the end of this week. And I think the tutorial notice can just be gone. So I'm getting the old tutorial, this tutorial seeded run, all of this stuff. This is going to be stripped out. So we're going to delete this. Okay, we've got the main menu here. We're going to get rid of is tutorial played. This is going. We're just going to go straight into load character select. We get rid of this tutorial notice UID. On tutorial accepted, goodbye. On tutorial declined. Okay, and then we'll do load tutorial run. Is tutorial equals true? We're going to get rid of this. So I spent so much time working on that tutorial and now it's just going away. That's all right. That's how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes sometimes. Is tutorial enabled? That's going away. Emit signal tutorial completed. We'll get rid of this tutorial completed. Move this up. Get rid of this. Okay. Connect to tutorial completed. Get rid of this. Tutorial end notice. Get rid of these. End notice UID, get rid of that. So we're just stripping everything out. We're going to get rid of the tutorial guide as well. Tutorial guide. I mean, this is all going to have to be... This is a separate scene. Let me think. Yeah, we'll just get rid of the tutorial guide as well. Delete this. Tutorial utils. Oh, we don't need this either. And we don't need this tutorial context, I don't think. So we'll delete that. So we're basically just stripping out all of everything related to the old tutorial. Because I'm going to take a totally different approach. The tutorial is actually going to be in a real run. There's not going to be a separate tutorial run. I'm still going to use that little skull character, I'm sure, but none of that stuff is going to be used anymore. So we'll just get rid of all that. And the nice thing about doing that too is that I want to have like a build of the game that's actually like fully playable with the save system and everything done by the end of the week. I don't think I need to have the tutorial in place for that though. So I can handle that at a later time. So this is all working. So strip out all tutorial code. All right. That hurts. That's painful. I spent a lot of time on that, but sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do that. Okay. So let's see. So we have a number of bugs to fix. Those could be useful. Let's do it before after view for alchemy. We'll put that in the backlog. Combat summary screen, put that in the backlog. Put the combat log overhaul in the backlog. Allow map access during encounters. That's going to go away. Okay. We do not hear any cats. What was the most important criticism Alchemortis received? Having like a skeleton scholar do the tutorial pop-up dialogue would be funny. Almost everyone who would do the playtest already knows how the game works anyway. Yeah, so the most important criticism Alchemortis received, I don't know, a lot of it was important. I think all the feedback around the alchemy system was important. People not really knowing how their combat board works was important. What else? Yeah, I think just the feedback around the alchemy, because the alchemy is the main part of the game. And so the feedback has been very useful around that area in particular to get the game into the state where it needs to be. And it may still change. I think the alchemy still needs some tweaks, but yeah. But I do have a little skull character here. So it's kind of like, I mean, we could make him like a scholar. We could give him a little hat, maybe. We'll see. Skelly from Hades. Anyway, do you guys have any preferences on what you want to work on? I mean, we could do a bunch of bug fixes potentially. Combat VFX sounds fun. Yeah, the problem is I don't really have any good ideas for that. Crush some bugs. Yeah, we'll probably do some bugs, I guess. All right, let's just do some bugs then. Signpost and shop is not fading out. This has used parent material on. So I think I just need to do this. Sign.use parent material equals false. Visual utilities fade out. Sign. I think that works. No, I don't want to open the input file. Or the import file, rather. Shop is 2. How do you recreate bugs if they're reported bugs? Any tricky ones? Well, to be honest, most of the bugs that I've encountered are bugs that I discovered myself. So I generally have an idea of how to reproduce it because I'm the one that encounters them. The one bug that was really tricky was the double click bug where people were able to open multiple instances of the card inspector. That one I finally figured out, so multiple people kept reporting it. I finally figured out that the common thread was that they were all on Linux. And so without knowing exactly how to reproduce, without being able to reproduce on Windows, I didn't really know what was causing the issue. So what I had to do is I actually had to create a Linux dual boot on my PC, go into Linux, clone the repository, get all the development environment set up and everything, and then I was able to run the game, and then I was able to reproduce the bug. And then from that point, I was able to say, okay, I was able to observe like what was happening, and I quickly found out that, oh, it was just like the mouse hover state was not being updated immediately. So I just had to create a workaround for updating that hover state. But that was a tricky bug because I couldn't reproduce it no matter how hard I tried on Windows. And it took a couple of feedback of that same feedback coming in for me to finally figure out that, oh, all of these people are on Linux, right? So once I discovered that piece of information, I at least had something to go off of, which was install Linux myself and try it out. And that ended up working. So why do you write your scripts in C# instead of GDScript? Are there any advantages, or is it a familiarity thing? Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of advantages. You get the typical, like, the type system. You know, you could use generics, you can use interfaces. But then you have also other utilities you can use, like link, which makes iterating over and filtering data collections very easy. You've got different data structures like queues and hash sets and all that stuff we can use, which is very easy. Of course, all those data structures can be replicated in GDScript, of course, but having those out of the box in C# is very good. And then, of course, you have all of the C# NuGet packages. Not all of them, but, you know, you can pull in NuGet packages that are compatible with your project and just use those, right? So that's why. Welcome to the stream, Basil, by the way. Hello, Arion. Welcome back. I'm good. How are you doing? Any plans for Steam Deck support? Yes, the game will support Steam Deck on launch. I'm actually trying to acquire a Steam Deck myself so that I could test it properly before it releases. But yeah, I think that this game, it would be a shame if this game was not supported on Steam Deck for whatever reason on launch, because I think this is the perfect kind of game to play on a Steam Deck. Works well already on a Steam Deck, already controller side, yeah. So I think really the only thing that I need to do to make it work on Steam Deck is, well, there's two main things, right? I need to set up cloud saves, which there was no save system in prior versions of the playtest, so that's fine. But set up cloud saves so you can bounce between devices with your save, and then also like just built-in controller support right off the bat. And yeah. But we'll see. If I can get a Steam Deck myself, that's going to be very nice, because then I'll be able to really test it and really make sure it works well. And now it's not working. So the fade in isn't working either. I'll play fade in. Can I do this? So this material system that I've got going on is a little bit wonky. That's all right. I should put skip menu back on as well so I don't have to do this every time. Why is that not fading in? Okay, let's see if that works. So the way, it's kind of weird. So These clickable controls assign a material to their target node 2D. And the clickable control is what's responsible for playing that outline animation and doing the outline shader when I hover over something. So previously what I was doing is I was having this use the parent material, so that way it just inherits that outline shader. So when I hover over this, the material's on the root sign, but because these two nodes have use parent material on, the sign would have that material applied. However, I recently refactored how my fade out and fade in shader works, and that has implications for this. So now I kind of have to manage the use parent material flag myself when I need to fade something out. It's just because I don't know how to really describe it, but because I'm using an instance shader uniform now, that is on a per node basis. And so even if I have use parent material on and I fade out the root node, it doesn't have that instance shader parameter with it. So, and this is still not fading in, so I don't know what's going on. Play in. Oh, fade in sign. There we go. So yeah, I just kind of I need to manage this little life cycle now, unfortunately, but that's all right. There we go. Okay, so all that is fading out properly now. Goodness gracious, okay. Thinking of starting a game dev channel like yours, also stream sometimes. Do you have any tidbits? Yeah, so when you start streaming, you're not going to have an audience. You're not going to have anyone watching. And so that can feel a little bit weird, but what you have to do kind of is, and it's going to feel weird, but you have to kind of talk as if you have an audience. So even if you have no viewers, you should be talking as if there's actually somebody watching and you want to communicate to them. You want to explain what you're doing, why you're doing stuff. And the reason you want to do that is because if somebody does come into the stream and you're talking about stuff and you're actually giving advice and describing what you're doing, that's going to make them more likely to stay. But if you have no viewers and you're just like, well, I have no viewers, so I'm just not going to say anything. When people come into your stream, they're going to see you doing nothing. They're going to see you just sitting there quietly and they're going to bounce, right? So that's one important thing. But the other important thing too is a lot of people will find your VODs too, and they might actually just watch the VOD because they're like, hey, some game development stream, I'm interested to see what this person's working on. And it's the same story. If your VOD you're not talking for the whole VOD, then people are not going to stick around to watch it either. So it's going to feel weird, but just talk as if you do have an audience watching you currently, even if you have no viewers, and just keep doing that. And eventually, hopefully, people will stick around to watch. And also the other thing is it's going to take a long time before you get regular viewers too. So you have to be prepared to grind a little bit if your goal is to have people watching the streams. Let's investigate this trigger node state here. So there's a bug here where I don't think the trigger node state is being reset properly. Let me think about this. Generate trigger configurations. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever resetting the trigger node state, so I'm going to need to do that. And that's going to have implications for the save file as well, but I don't know. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. So that does a trigger if I go back here and I go back here. I think what will happen is if I do the obelisk and that changes that visited node, I think it's going to reset its trigger state. Of course, that didn't work, but I actually don't know how I'm going to test this. I mean, I guess the best thing I can do is just try to get the obelisk to change one of the nodes that I've already visited. There we go. Okay. I actually probably want to store this seed so I can test this properly. This is my seed here. So we'll just copy this. I'm just going to stick that there for now. So now if I go back to this node, I think that's going to trigger the trigger node again, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually might be able to just call save run here. Yeah, so it does the trigger node again. So let me see if I can actually reload into that save. Let's see. No, but it's going to resave. Well, it's okay. I stored the seed, so let's see. So this should replay all those changes. Oops. So that saved the run there. Well, I could probably fix this myself. Actually, you know what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. Rename this. Let's copy this. Paste. alchemortis.test.json. So this is the save file that has that duplicate trigger. I'm going to need to set the trigger node override, I think. Let me think about this. I'm going to need to set is trigger node visited. So this set trigger node is being done in my seeded run. So if I go to my run save model here, run map state model, node override save model. I think that's what I need to do. Let's do public node override save model to save model. Let's move this stuff in here. Maybe that's not going to work. All right, well, we'll just keep this simple for now, I suppose. Let's just do public void set trigger node visited. I think that will work. I think that will work. So we just need to persist that data. Okay. Now I got to set up this test again. So let's delete this. Alcamortis test. The seed is this. Okay, so then if I go to my... can I configure the run seed in here? Oh, I don't think I can, because I don't think the project settings support unsigned long. I'm not sure. But I think there's an easy way to test this. Run save manager. Let's just do ignore save. Well, no, we don't want to do that, actually. These things are getting harder and harder to test. Ignore save file. Let's try that. I'll have to have a number of stuff to undo there, but that's all right. One thing I heard Northern Lion say so many moons ago, keep talking. Yeah. You're welcome. Does having a decent viewership on videos not get you stream viewers? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I mean, from my own experience as like a person browsing YouTube, it tends to be the case that the people that I've watched before, or the people with larger channels, I do see their lives come up in the recommended all the time. So I'm sure it plays a factor, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly. All right, so it's going to change that one. Okay, so it saved the run. Let's just take a look at the alcamortis.json here. Is trigger node visited equals true there. So there's 2 trigger nodes visited. So let's see if I go here and I go here. This shouldn't trigger another one. Well, actually, it's going to be safer if I just restart and see if that persists the data properly. I shouldn't see this do another trigger because I've already visited it, even though it changed. Let's just put this here. Auto-resolve. Okay, perfect, yeah. So that data is now being persisted through the save, but if I go here, what I should see is this will trigger another node as well. Okay, that is fixed. So we can delete this now. We can delete this one. Now I gotta make sure to undo all the test changes that I made specifically. That's all good. This one can be discarded completely, I think. Yeah. Put that back. Base seated run. Okay, cool. All right, we're good there. All right. Hard tooltips on character select aren't working. Why is this not working? It was working and then it broke. You gotta love when that happens. Wonder why that isn't working. Turn off skip menu. Curious about one thing. Is it best to create a nickname like you because I also work as a web dev and maybe the company doesn't like me doing other stuff during my day? I mean, I don't think it hurts to come up with just like a username for yourself that you just stream under. I don't think that's a problem. It certainly, I mean, I think it can only help you. It's kind of the way that I think about it. Oh, I think I just need to set. Let's rename this card container placeholder. I think I just need to set this behavior recursive enabled. So my mouse events were just not being handled. I don't know why I had that here. I think I could just get rid of that. Hey, there we go. Now it's working. Now I can look at those. Perfect. So yeah, it was just I have the recursive mouse behavior set so that all the mouse events would be ignored, but I forgot to enable it just for that little subtree there that contains the cards. There's a good question of why that was working before, but I guess that was working before I did my major card refactor, so maybe that was a consideration. But it works now. We're just playing whack-a-mole with some bugs here. Look at that, though. Got a lot of bugs done. Shop upgrade. I don't think this is working properly. It's not properly upgrading card tiers, I don't think. I think for this one, what I'm going to need to do is set up a cheat command where I can trigger player upgrades immediately. I guess we could look at that. Let's see. What? Git couldn't be accessed. So let me go to my run manager here. Let me take a look at this. Run manager. Upgrade non-combat encounters. So state non-combat encounters upgrade. If state machine get current state is not equal to state map idle, return false, upgrade non-combat encounters. No, I want to do state machine, change state non-combat encounter upgrade return true. Okay, so let's go to my cheat helper. All right, let's see what happens. I've heard game dev companies sometimes have clauses in your employment contract that prevent you from working on other games. Yeah, that is true. You won't typically see that for like normal... Like the contracts that I've had to sign for normal employment is just like non-compete, which is basically like you're not allowed to work for somebody else for a salary. Like you're like the sole employee or whatever of this company. And also you're not allowed to like work for somebody that is like in the same industry, basically. So something along those lines. Ownership of inventions, you'll have to sign some of those too, at least in the United States, where like anything that you invent that is directly related to the industry of the company that you're working for, the company can kind of claim as their own, which is kind of weird. I've heard that those aren't really enforceable and that they're not enforced very often. I certainly don't think they would be enforced if like you released a game on the side and you're working for like a full stack web dev, like SaaS app company, you know what I mean? But it doesn't hurt to add like a layer of obfuscation to like protect yourself. Like it's better if your company probably never knows that you're doing it on the side. You know, it's just like, your employer doesn't need to know everything, right? So I think it's a good idea. Protect yourself a little bit, add a level of obfuscation. Waterbelly games it is, all right. Be prepared to receive a cease and desist there, Arion. I'm kidding. I don't have the energy to... I have sent one cease and desist notification in my entire life, and it was somebody who was doing a word-for-word verbatim copy of my Survivors course for free on YouTube, but in Spanish. And so I just sent them like a very like... I didn't have a lawyer do it or anything. I was just like, hey, you're copying my stuff. Please stop or else... And they stopped, so... like, you know, that's the only time I've heard... But it was like, I was kind of reluctant to do even that, but it was literally just like lesson by lesson, like the same exact structure, verbatim what I said. It was just like a blatant copy of my work. So I felt kind of bad doing it, but at the same time, it's like, if you want to do a Survivors tutorial, like I don't own Survivors tutorials, right? Like just do it in your own style. If you want to offer it for free on YouTube in Spanish, whatever, that's fine. But like, don't copy my lesson structure and my words exactly. You know what I mean? Word for word is crazy. Yeah. It was like literally like the lesson 1 was the same as my lesson 1 and the lesson 2 is the same as my lesson 2. It was like, what are you doing, dude? How did I find out? What's interesting is one of my students actually messaged me on Udemy and said, hey, there's this guy on YouTube who is doing your course verbatim in Spanish. I didn't even find out myself. I wasn't like looking for people to target. It was like one of my students just said, hey, there's this guy copying you. Exactly. And I was like, what? That can't be true. So I went and looked and I was like, holy moly, that he actually is. Didn't even realize there was a bonus stream going, too locked into my project. That's all right. Welcome, the malicious rabbit. I think I also saw one from your grid puzzle. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's not something that I'm actively looking for, you know, but if somebody tells me, hey, there's this guy copying your work and I think that it's like too much of a copy, I might say something. But like I said, I've only done that once, you know, because I'm generally like very lax, like just, you could do a Survivors course for free on YouTube. Like I don't own that space, you know, but it just has to be your own content. That's all. Anyway, what was I doing? I don't remember. Oh, right. I need to find a shop. I should probably see if this works first, though. Oh, that didn't do anything. It actually did nothing. Okay, so I'm glad I tested that first. All right, it's using this boss is defeated. Well, how do I want to do this? So this is based on the boss is defeated. Well, we could just do something like private int cheat non-combat upgrade count. We'll just do that. I have a bunch of errors too, that's kind of bad. Okay, so that upgraded properly, but I need to find a shop. I mean, I guess maybe I don't need to actually find a shop. Let me do this. Project, skip menu, ignore save file. Let's see if I can get a shop in close proximity here. I need to upgrade my cheat debug cheat thing to allow me to change certain node types. That'd be nice. But we're just going to keep refreshing the map until I find a shop. It might not actually be possible for shops to generate in close proximity to the start node. That might be a rule in my run map generator. I'll just get rid of this block of code because I think that was the block of code that was preventing shops from being generated close to the start node. So I will just see if that works now. Hey, there's a shop right there. Okay, so that's a tier 1 shop. Upgrade non-combat events. We're going to do this a couple of times. That booster didn't get upgraded at all. So that's a shop tier 5. That seems to be a little bit weird. I wonder why those tiers are being so weird. I think I should probably just do a linear increase of the tier. I need to investigate that. To do... I don't know, these tags are kind of bad, but that's all right. All right, let's see. Yeah, so those cards are not being upgraded at all. So that's the problem that I'm trying to address here. So let's look at my shop configuration, card configurations. So these generate card configurations. So this generate, okay, so I see the generate configurations, state init. Oh, I see. So this is assigning the node tier. So the tier is being stored for the old version of the node. That's the problem. Why am I not... Shouldn't I be regenerating the configurations here? I'm just updating the tier, I think. Actually, I think there's an easy way to fix this for now. Do I need to have the tier in here? I don't think so. This generate configurations is being done here in the shop event state machine. That tier is only used in this generate card configuration, so I could do int node tier here. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so that should fix that. So those shop inventories are generated at the time that I visit the shop. So if I do upgrade non-combat encounters, oops. That's a shop tier 3 now, so I should see increased card tiers available at the shop as well. Let's see. There we go. Now the cards are all upgraded. Okay, all right, we fixed that. Let's see. Now I gotta undo that change that I made here. Discard that. Okay. Okay, we're good. So using JSON serialization, why not with a config one? What's other systems available out there for the same? Well, I mean, you could use basically anything. I mean, you could use a Godot resource if you wanted to. You know, there's a way to just create like a binary file, which just has all the data packed in such a way that you just read it back in chunks. JSON is just what I'm familiar with. It's also very easy to reason about because it's human readable. So if I ever need to see what's going on with my save file, all I need to do is just go ahead and open. Well, I don't have a save file here, but all I got to do is just open the JSON file and read it and see if everything's being saved the way that I want it to. And my game is not, it's not going to have enough save data where a more efficient method of saving data is going to need to be done. Like, we're talking about a save file that's going to be like 10 to 20 kilobytes at most. That's very easy to read and write very quickly. So it's not something worth like trying to come up with a hyper efficient system for. Definitely for games that have a lot of save data, I think the typical way to do it is to just do like very tightly controlled like binary data where you're controlling the chunks of the binary data and then you know which chunks to read for certain different types of data. I think Minecraft is like that. Minecraft saves its chunk system in like binary files, which are just easy to read from, quick to read from. But that adds a lot of complexity that doesn't need to be here for this kind of game because it's relatively simple. So, you know, that's why. It's just, it doesn't really matter how you save your data. The most important thing is that it's working for your game, like whatever system you choose is working for your game. What is Godot save? You just said I don't know how to save game data in Godot resources. I've never done that. I've never seen a reason to do that. I just use JSON and call it a day. But I'm sure there are applications where saving it as a resource would be useful, but I haven't encountered that yet. But anyway, that's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you all for watching. I'm glad you came around for the bonus stream. And yeah, if you're interested in Alka Mortis, you can wishlist it on Steam. It's right here. So definitely do that if you're interested. Yeah, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. And bye-bye for now.